Hi, I'm Aaron Day. I work in Evelyn Hu's group, and this is what's on my bench. So I study semiconductors, things like silicon and silicon carbide. They're these more familiar materials, but we're trying to use them for these quantum technology applications. And so in particular, I'm interested in these spin defects, but they're effectively quantum sources of light. I'm interested in trying to study these things, how to make them, and then how to put them in devices and control them. So we do a lot of nanofabrication right down in the basement of Harvard in the clean room. And the tweezers that I use here allow me to handle these silicon or silicon carbide samples to pull them in and out of tools, lithography tools, etching tools, in order to fabricate these devices that are on the scale of 10 to 100 times thinner than the strand of hair. These are my favorite tweezers. Over the course of 5 years of my PhD, I've used a bunch, I've lost a bunch, but these ones here are my favorite. They're the perfect gap that allow me to handle my samples. I also just love the color. And so they're really important to help me handling the devices that we engineer to study how these spin defects interact with our systems. This, I joke, is my sample graveyard. So it's 2 whole boxes that are full of hundreds of samples, probably somewhere on the order of 500 samples. And I've measured every single sample here in our test equipment, and every sample has failed. I kind of keep it around as a token of all the things that I've tried that didn't work. It's really important because the parts of my work involve not just trying to figure out how to make these things, but then also how to use them. And so that first piece, which is how to make them, takes a lot of work and a lot of investigation. And we've tried hundreds of times different conditions. And I keep a record of all the things that I've tried that failed. So this is a pen. I usually keep it either somewhere on my desk or in my shirt pocket. There's nothing too special about it. It's not fancy or anything in particular, but actually my grandpa gave it to me, I think, over 20 years ago. I can barely even remember at this point. I was quite young. I thought I had lost it for a long time throughout high school. And I think as I was leaving for grad school, I found it on my desk at home, and it brought me the memory of my grandpa. Now I try to use it as much as I can. And so it's always somewhere on me. There's been times where I thought I lost it and I found it again, and it's kind of just a nice keepsake now that I still use almost every day that reminds me of him. So this here is the first patent that I ever filed. It was related to some work that I accomplished a couple years ago, halfway through my PhD. We're interested in trying, like I said, to not just make this defect of interest, this thing that exhibits these quantum properties, but also couple it to a device. And then when you can use that device to interact with that system, you can try and make it do useful things. For example, we talk a lot about like a quantum internet. That's application of the type of technology that I work on. And so we were able to develop a device and couple a defect to it that allows us to tune its properties controllably using electric fields. And that's useful because if you ever want to implement these systems into, say, a quantum internet, having a knob where you can tune them into the exact color of light that you're interested in is a really useful knob for control. And so the work that we did and wrote a paper on, we realized we could also file a patent application for. And I keep it here on my desk as a reminder of the ways that the research that we do here, though it's fundamental, can also yield technology that can be useful for the world.